we're starting with the NFL like we do every single Monday during the season. A pretty epic weekend of football on all levels, so it does not exactly bring me any pleasure whatsoever to start the week off with the jungle's favorite newscaster. But, well, we have no choice, do we? If you're getting ready for work this morning, then you're probably not Frank Reich.
If you're getting ready for work right now, then you're probably not Doug
Frank Reich.
If you're getting ready for work right now, then you're probably not Doug
Frank Reich.
If you're getting ready for work right now, then you're probably not Doug Collins.
Frank Reich. Frank Reich. Frank Reich. Frank Reich. Frank Reich. Anyway, like I said, it brings me no pleasure, but I know what you'll do, clones. The same thing you always do. That. But that is right. The first-year Panthers head coach doesn't even get to be a one and done.
That's right.
He didn't even make it to one and done. He didn't even make it to 12 games. This is incredible. Even Pervin Liar got 13 games before he got the axe.
Alabama
and he
week.
was perving and lying and kicking kickers and trashing his own assistants and skipping team flights and taking nights out in C-Bus with co-eds and losing like crazy. He's the worst NFL head coach ever.
Stayed to see the grandkids.
And even he got more games than Frank Reich. Incredible. Like, I'm not surprised that the dude didn't make it to year 2, but I am a little bit surprised that he didn't make it to week 13. Then again, David Tepper's favorite activity is to run coaches into the guillotine. I mean, after all, he just did it to the third team, or the third time since he bought that team 5 years ago. He likes doing that. He's good at doing that. Now, if you want to argue that it's not fair to judge Reich on 11 games with a rookie quarterback and a roster in a rebuild, feel free. I'm not going to. Like, I've got absolutely nothing against Reich. But there's no getting around it. This is an unmitigated disaster. They're an unmitigated disaster. And you're not going to find anybody anywhere saying that Frank Reich did a hell of a job playing the hand that he was dealt. No, he did a crummy job playing the crummy hand he was dealt. And I don't expect that there's going to be a long line of teams, if even one at all, throwing him another head coaching gig anytime soon. And does it really surprise anybody that the owner broke off another head coach this soon? It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. Especially when that same owner was letting F-bombs fly around reporters in the locker room after the game. It's not exactly surprising when the hammer falls the following morning. Not when the owner is throwing F-bombs everywhere. But axing 2 head coaches before week 13 in consecutive seasons is not a great look. That's what chaos looks like. It's tough to build anything promising when you're constantly blowing everything up. And then again, how are you going to get the guy you really want for that job when that person is seeing what's going on there and how quick you are with the hook? So if you want to talk about that, that's one topic. Sean McDermott, for instance, should send Reich a thank you note this morning because if it wasn't for Frank, we'd all be talking about McDermott's ass on fire once again today. Because once again, the Bills failed to finish in a big game. Buffalo was on the verge of a massive road win yesterday. A massive road win that could have jump-started and kick-started a season turnaround. Instead, it just reminded everybody yet again that this team simply cannot finish. You know I hate to do this to you, Mafia, but you all know I'm right. As well as your Bills played at times in that slop in Philly. When it came down to the biggest moments in the game, they bleeped it all up all over again. This is what they do. Never thought that I would say this, but this is what they do and this is who they are. We've seen it too many times. Buffalo burned 2 timeouts before that miraculous Jake Elliott 59-yard bomb in the elements. So they didn't even try to go for the win in the final 20 seconds of regulation. Then they had a miscommunication between 2 of their most experienced players with a chance to score and win in OT. And that, of course, just led to them letting Philly go right down the field, 75 yards, to rip the game right out their hands and walk it right the hell off. In other words, Mafia, same movie that we've been watching over and over and over and over again. Same movie that has Josh Allen now 0-6 in his career in overtime. I mean, there's just no way around it. These dudes have a massive finishing problem, and it's nothing new, and nothing is changing, and they're doing nothing to fix it. They don't have any answers, or it wouldn't keep happening. I know Sean McDermott doesn't have any answers, or he would use those answers, and he would actually fix the problem. But he's going to have to do a hell of a lot better than this for a team that was supposed to win it all this season, only to drop to 6-6. You know who wants to hear that right about now? Nobody. It's not really hindsight when everybody watching the game wants you to save a couple of timeouts to try to go win that game at the end of the game. It's not the power of hindsight. That's the power of being aggressive and playing to win instead of playing not to lose and losing anyway. You know the old saying, playing not to lose will get you beat every single time. And unfortunately for Sean McDermott, this is now his calling card. You can't blame hindsight when you get it wrong every single time. Man, don't be armchair quarterbacking us. You can't blame hindsight for your quarterback and veteran wide receiver having a mix-up that cost you the game. You can't blame hindsight when your defense needs a stop and just gets run right the hell over. You need a better answer than blaming hindsight.
Hindsight's always
because
20/20.
In fact, when you point out hindsight, you're actually blaming us. Like, yeah, easy for you to say. Hindsight's 20/20. You're not the one under the headset. You're not the one making these calls. So wait, Coach, you blaming us? I mean, if you're saying hindsight is 20/20, are you blaming us for something that keeps happening to you over and over again? At least, though, he didn't pull a Brandon Staley and throw a temper tantrum and then turn around the following week and lay another egg in prime time. Man, I don't know how many times I have to say this. How many times do I have to qualify this? How many times do I have to say, I like Brandon Staley, but I'm not sure what's more painful. Having to watch the Chargers charger it up or having to listen to the Ginger Clapper break down the Chargers, chargering it up.
The Clapper.
But I'll tell you what, it doesn't get much more Charger than benching Quentin Johnson while Zay Flowers scored both of the Ravens TDs. You know, a.k.a. the same Zay Flowers the Chargers passed on to take Quentin Johnson. Nothing can be more Charger than that, except maybe the head coach throwing that tantrum about how confident he was in his defense and then sending out 12 players on defense for the very first play of the very next game. That's about as Charger as it gets. And again, you all know this is a big Bolts house. It is. It is. I like them. They've got a hell of a lot of talent. But I can't just sit here and tell you that any of that is okay. And you know why? In part, because they have a hell of a lot of talent. At some point, you all have to look in the mirror and acknowledge the clowns staring back at you. Because the entire rest of the world sees a clown show when they watch the Chargers, and they're not wrong. Their talent dictates them being much better than where they are.
You can stop asking that question.
All right, so we move on. Somehow, there's an even bigger bleep show in the NFL. And somehow, the alleged head coaching GOAT is presiding over it. Listen, at least the Chargers and the Bills lost to damn good football teams. The Patriots just lost to Tommy freaking DeVito. And I mean no disrespect by that. No disrespect by that. Because believe me, the last thing I want is the DeVito family on my ass. I don't want that. I don't want that heat. I don't want that smoke. I'll admit it. Hey, remember when Hoodman used to be a nightmare for rookies? I can remember how many times I said on the show. In fact, I can't remember how many times I would say, man, this guy has made a lot of really young quarterbacks look bad. Hell, the Hood has made a lot of really old veteran quarterbacks look bad. Hell, he's made every quarterback look bad. Yeah, I don't know. He made Tommy DeVito look pretty damn good. There's no nightmare when Tommy DeVito is waving his hand around all afternoon. That's not a nightmare for rookies. My man looked pretty damn comfortable. Pretty comfortable. Like, I'm not even sure what to call that gesture. DeVito doesn't even know what to call that gesture. All I know is I freaking love the gesture. My man, I know how that works. So what's the word? If you type in a word, the emoji comes up. So what's the word? What are you typing in?
That's a high, you know.
Just tell me the word. I want to see what emoji. I mean, I know the emoji, but I want to see what word produces that emoji. Anyway, for the record, the emoji description is pinched fingers. Oh, that's the word? Pinched fingers produces the emoji pinched fingers? I was hoping for a hell of a lot more than that. Hey, Apple, we need an update on that. We need an iOS update on that. Apple needs to change the description just to DeVito, Tommy D, Tommy DeVito. I mean, he's done that much, right? Listen, I'm happy to hype this guy because it's an amazing story. It really is. And the hand-waving thing is hilarious. And his family is incredible. But all of that said, let's be real for 1 second. The Giants scored 10 points. And they were outgained by one of the worst offenses pretty much ever. The real story here is that Hoodman's horrendous Patriots are somehow getting worse. And they were already the worst team in the AFC. What's worse than already being the worst? Find me a word and emoji for that. Because, I don't know, maybe it's got something to do with the fact that he keeps running Mac Jones out there every single week. And why would he do that? He's already been benched 4 times. Why did you run that guy back out there? If I didn't know any better, Hood, I would think that the only reason you'd run that guy out there after it seemed like his career there ended last week, the only reason you'd run him out there again is for the pleasure of benching his ass again. Like you want to do that every single week. The craziest thing about all the quarterback drama in New England is how irrelevant it all is. It's pretty clear. It doesn't matter who is under center or who starts or who comes in when because the offense is straight up ass no matter who's playing quarterback. This team is straight up ass no matter who is getting the QB1s reps in practice all week. And what was the whole point not telling your team, allegedly, who the quarterback was until moments before or hours before? Was there some edge to be gained? Like the opposition, I mean, Hood, are you really still thinking at this point? Well, if they got to prepare for 2, that's going to be more difficult. They got to prepare for 2 quarterbacks instead of 1. No, that's twice the work. Dude, I bet they don't have to prepare for either quarterback. How horrible is this? Hunter Henry tells the media after the game that the team really did only find out that Mac was going to start hours before the game. Hood tells the media this totally believable side of the story himself. You can't remember. Y'all get back to that lie. That's taking a minute. As I said, what edge is there to be gained? There's no edge in that they have to prepare for 2 quarterbacks. When those are your 2 quarterbacks, I bet they didn't prepare for either. And as far as the you can't remember when you told your team the most important thing of the week. You can't remember. You can't remember when you informed your team who was going to start a quarterback. Yo, Hoodman, I know you're old. And I know what happens as you get older. I've experienced this myself. There's certain things that you have trouble remembering. But, dude, you're not that old. You could be in the ground, and I wouldn't buy that. You're not that old, and you're a terrible liar. And why lie since it doesn't even matter? Again, is there any difference at this point between Bailey Zappi and Mac? You know what I can't remember? Okay, I'll play along, Hood. You can't remember. You can't remember when you told your team who was going to start a quarterback. All right, I like this game, actually. Let's play the I can't remember game. You know what I can't remember? I can't remember when the Hood man was feared. I can't remember when the Patriots were stacked with talent and they were ripping all those Lombardis. I don't remember any of that. Did any of that actually happen, William?
I can't remember.
Nor can I, because I've got no recall of any of that. Do you, Hood? Obviously not. Not if you can't even remember who or when you told your team was going to start a quarterback this week. Yo, Pops, stop the lies. Stop the lies, old man, and start packing up your boxes because this is going to end really badly.
Pack your bag.
Especially if you're lying out your backside. Your own player said they weren't informed until hours before the game, but you can't remember.
I can't remember.
Go talk to Hunter Henry. He'll remind you. I can't even believe this has happened to this team, this franchise, this organization. I mean, we were goading this guy to death like 5 minutes ago. Like I always say, though, it's tired, but it's true. When it goes fast. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell to be the first to know when we do upload a new video.